Do you like murder mysteries? Do you like when games look like they could have come out on the Super Nintendo? Are you a fan of dogs? If so, then let me introduce you to Murder is Game Over Deal Killer, a brand new budget-priced adventure game that combines the best elements of Agatha Christie with pixel graphics. It's a case set in a snowed-in ski lodge, and a detective and his trusty dog are the only ones that can crack it wide open. The game is afoot when I review Murder is Game Over Deal Killer by Defunct Games. Let me go ahead and set the scene. It's high up in the Alps at a snowed-in ski lodge, and there's been a murder. The victim is a mean and obnoxiously greedy CEO of a popular video game developer that is best known for screwing players over with microtransactions and loot boxes. The entire ski lodge is made up of his employees and children, all of which have a motive to kill the miserable old man. Now, what the suspects don't realize is that a famous detective has been invited to this company party, and he's here to get to the bottom of the murder. Wait, hang on. Did I say detective? Well, what I meant was detectives, plural. It's actually a pair of crime solvers, a man and his dog, Cleo. The man will interrogate the suspects, while Cleo will find hidden clues all around the hotel. It's the perfect detective duo, and together they'll have no problem solving this case in about 2 hours. What we have here is one of those single location crime thrillers. The type where you have to track down clues and gather up information from everybody in the hotel. If that wasn't enough to deal with, there's also a famous story about a ghost lady that wears a white gown, a supernatural mystery that ends up getting intertwined with this crime caper. Throw in a whole cast of wacky characters and a few twists to keep your head spinning, and you have the kind of snowed-in thriller that would have tickled Poirot's comically large mustache. Now, a lot of the charm of this game comes from its 16-bit style. This is one of those murder mysteries that looks like it could have launched alongside the Super Nintendo. The 8 suspects are small and look great in pixel graphics, and you'll even be able to see their faces close up every time you interrogate one of them. It's a fun cast of colorful characters too. It's over the top and silly in all the right ways, so you won't even bat an eye when you learn that the big tough bodyguard is afraid of clowns, and that the heir to the software company is a man-child who essentially spends all day watching Paw Patrol. As an investigation, a lot of the gameplay boils down to just questioning the suspects and sussing out the clues, both big and small. Although you can play it like a traditional point-and-click adventure game, there aren't really any puzzles to solve, and the whole thing is about figuring out who had the motive to do each of the crimes. The result is a game that is more about what is said than what is done. It's important to pay attention to every single word that is said, because a lot of it's going to come into play later in the game when you need to use the clues and your own deduction to crack this case wide open. Because of this structure, some might complain that it's not all that exciting. You're mostly confined to in and around the ski lodge, so there really isn't that much area to explore. This is a confined space mystery, which is good from a narrative perspective, but may not work as well as a 16-bit video game. There are only so many rooms to rummage through, so it won't take long for the detective and Cleo to have the whole mystery wrapped up. In fact, I was genuinely shocked at how short the runtime was. You basically only have enough time to interview the suspects twice, and then the game is ready for you to spell everything out in the den with the fancy fireplace. Because the area is so limited and there aren't that many suspects in play, I kind of figured that the real emphasis was going to be on the story and the clues and, I don't know, maybe even the misdirection. I expected the typical twists and the red herrings, but this murder mystery is surprisingly straightforward. Sure, there's some supernatural stuff that sends us on a fun side quest, but once all that's been resolved, the game is in a big hurry to end. It doesn't help that the detective is the least interesting character in this game. I'm not even sure he has a name. You're going to spend most of your time playing as the more established dog, Cleo, who's the only one of the two that can locate clues. Typically, in a story like this, the detective is a larger-than-life figure that commands the room. You know, like Hercule Poirot or Sherlock Holmes, or most recently, Benoit Blanc. But this game's detective has no personality and gets completely overshadowed by the rest of the colorful cast. And no, it doesn't help that he looks like a 15-year-old Archie. Look, it could be that some of this was addressed in the first game, 2022's Murder is Game Over. Or maybe the detective was more fleshed out in last year's sequel, Streaming Death. I don't know, I haven't played them. And the good news is that you can pick this game up and thoroughly enjoy the mystery without playing the previous episodes. Deal Killer does a really good job of bringing up to speed on the crucial bits of information from the past game that are all pertinent to this game. That said, playing through this third installment actually does make me want to go back to unravel the mysteries of the first two games. Maybe I'll get more out of this game from playing those. As a murder mystery, Deal Killer is a little too straightforward and wraps up right when things are starting to get good. I don't mind being stuck in a single location, but I was kind of hoping that they would do more with that space. It's a fun adventure game with an attractive price, but it's a bit on the simple side and you probably won't come back for seconds. And let me tell you, you definitely won't need the world's greatest detective to solve this case. And that is a shame. If you like murder mysteries that look like they could be played on the Super Nintendo, then Murder is Game Over, Deal Killer may just be for you. Just don't go in expecting a ton of twists and turns and a complicated story, because the case here is surprisingly simple and straightforward. It's not without a few fun diversions and comical side quests, but it's ultimately the kind of case that Sherlock Holmes or Benoit Blanc would have been able to solve in just the first couple minutes. Murder is Game Over, Deal Killer offers a cool cast of characters and a lot of 16-bit charm, but there's just something about the simplistic story that left me a little cold. No, it's not just because it takes place in a snowed-in ski lodge. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we have a whole playlist full of these video reviews. I will admit, it's a bit unruly at more than 800 reviews, but hey, it's worth diving into if you're one of those people that likes to seek out smaller games. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite video game mystery? It can be the driving mystery of the entire game, or maybe it's just something small and stupid, but I can't wait to see what you come up with in the comments below. In other news, I still have a whole bunch of reviews to get through, including a new game that is a reimagined version of Pong. Yeah, we're gonna dig into Pong lore. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,